You're posting on LinkedIn multiple times a week. You're sharing your expertise. You're following all the best practices. And you know what you're getting? Crickets. Maybe 8 likes from the same people that always like your stuff. 55% of decision makers say the market is oversaturated with low-quality thought leadership. And that means that more than half of your potential clients are just scrolling right on past your content. But what if I told you there's a content strategy that makes your content impossible to ignore? One that lets you attract better clients and charge premium prices. It's called Contrarian content, and in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. Hey, I'm Doree, and I help solopreneurs build authority using strategic content. 3 years ago, I was exactly where you probably are right now. I had like maybe 1,200 LinkedIn followers, and my posts were getting like 10 to 12 likes. I was sharing the same productivity tips, the same Monday motivation, the same recycled advice as everybody else. Then, I wrote a post that almost terrified me. It challenged something that everyone in my industry usually says as de facto advice. I almost deleted the post 3 times because I was so nervous about it. When I finally hit publish, everything changed. Within 2 days, I had 47 comments and 4 DMs from potential clients. Couldn't believe it. And I was scared, I was nervous. So in this video, I'm gonna walk you through the exact framework I use and teach my clients to create contrarian content that builds real authority, attracts ideal clients, and helps you stand out in a sea of sameness. Let's go. Why is your content being ignored? Is it because you're not smart enough or you don't have enough expertise? Nope. The problem is that your content looks and sounds like everybody else's. Think about it. How many times have you seen posts that say consistency is key, or focus on providing value, or build relationships, not transactions? These are platitudes. No one can disagree with them, which means that no one can remember them either. A 2023 study by Edelman and LinkedIn found something shocking. While 85% of decision makers believe that thought leadership is critical for vetting a business, only 15% rate the quality of what they consume as excellent or very good. So your potential clients want valuable insights, but they're not finding them. So your opportunity is to be in that 15%. Many professionals are afraid to have a strong opinion because they think it'll alienate their potential clients. So they stick to safe topics. They play it safe. They share quotes from famous people. They post things that no one could possibly disagree with. But here's the thing. If no one can disagree with you, no one will remember you either. Playing it safe makes you forgettable, and it actively repels the clients you want. Take Bob Hoffman, for example. He's known as the ad contrarian. He built his entire brand by challenging the marketing industry's sacred cow. The customer is always right. He argues that blindly following customer demands leads to terrible business decisions. That provocative stance earned him a massive following and established him as a key voice in advertising. Why? Because he had the courage to stand up for something specific that he believed in, going against the grain of the norm. The third mistake that's killing your content is obsessing over tactics instead of substance. Everyone's chasing the latest format, carousels, polls, short-form video, spending hours on design, but only minutes on the actual idea and content. Listen, the format is just a container. The idea is the magic. A weak idea and a beautiful carousel is still weak, but a powerful contrarian idea, even if it's just plain text, it could stop the scroll and make someone think. According to the Content Marketing Institute's 2024 report, the most successful B2B marketers prioritize building an audience and providing valuable, substantive content instead of just chasing brand awareness through tactical execution. 78% of top performers focus on their audience's informational needs first, not the format, not the algorithm hack, the actual substance. So what exactly is contrarian content? It's content that provides a genuinely unique and valuable perspective that challenges a common belief in your industry. Here's the 3-step framework. Step 1, identify a widely held belief in your field, something called a sacred cow. 2, present an opposing or different viewpoint that's based on your unique experience and expertise. This isn't about being controversial just to get clicks. It's not clickbait. It's about sharing what you've actually seen work. Step 3, back up your perspective with logic, data, stories, or evidence. You can't just say, da-da-da-da-da is wrong. You have to show why it's wrong and present a better alternative. Adam Grant, an organizational psychologist, is a perfect example of this. His entire platform is built on the contrarian idea that the smartest people are those who are constantly questioning their own beliefs. He wrote this book called Think Again that goes over the whole deal. He challenges the common wisdom of sticking to your guns with his concept of intellectual humility. And this approach made him one of the most influential thought leaders in his field. Want to read more about Adam Grant? Even if you don't want to read the book Think Again, he's written an extensive amount of articles in Harvard Business Review. Okay, thought leadership, sacred cows, no, and contrarian content. Why does this all matter for your business? Well, there's 3 reasons. First, you attract higher quality clients. People who resonate with your unique perspective aren't just looking for any coach or consultant, they're looking for your specific approach. These are the clients who say, I've been looking for someone who thinks like this. Second, you can command higher fees. When you have a unique point of view, you create a category of one. You're not a commodity anymore, so you're not competing on price. A 2022 study in the Journal of Marketing found that brands with high perceived differentiation can sustain a price premium of up to 20% compared to their competitors. Third, you build a memorable brand. People forget generic advice within seconds, but they remember bold ideas that challenge them. Your contrarian stance could become your signature. It's the thing that people associate with you immediately. So how do you actually find your contrarian angle? It starts with identifying your industry's sacred cows. It's those ideas that are repeated so often that they're accepted as fact without question. I want you to grab a piece of paper right now and answer these questions. What common advice in my field do I secretly disagree with? What are clients constantly told to do that rarely works? What popular trend do I think is a complete waste of time? And what best practice is actually just a common practice, but not necessarily the best one? So now you can set a timer for 15 minutes, or just pause this video, and write down at least 10 ideas that come from these questions I just gave you. You don't need to worry or filter yourself. This is for your eyes only. You don't need to share it publicly. In the meantime, let me give you an example from my work with a leadership coach. This is what she wrote down. The belief that leaders should always have an open door policy. That became her contrarian angle. And not only did she say that, she had evidence. She watched brilliant leaders burn out trying to be constantly available. Once you've identified your sacred cow and your contrarian angle, you need to build a case against it. You can't just say, that's wrong. You need to explain why. So let's use our open door policy example. The contrarian argument could be, an always open door policy destroys a leader's productivity, encourages dependency from their team, and prevents them from doing the deep strategic work that they were hired to do. The better alternative, I propose a structured access policy, where leaders schedule specific, predictable office hours. This will respect the leader's time while ensuring that the team still feels supported. The evidence. Research from the University of California, Irvine found that it takes an average of 23 minutes and 15 seconds to get back on track after you're interrupted. A leader with a constantly open door policy is living in a state of perpetual interruption, which directly harms their effectiveness. You see how this works? You're not just complaining to get clickbait. You're offering a researched, evidence-based alternative. One contrarian idea shouldn't be a one-off post. Turn your core viewpoint into 3 to 5 content pillars. main themes that you'll talk about over and over from different angles. Sticking with our open door policy example, your pillars could be 1. The myth of constant accessibility, covering productivity, deep work, and leadership roles. Pillar 2, fostering team independence, talking about empowerment, delegation, and building self-sufficient teams. And pillar number 3 could be the structured access framework, explaining your specific methodology. Each pillar gives you dozens of potential posts, so you'll never run out of content, and your audience will start associating you and your brand with these types of ideas. HubSpot built their entire empire on this strategy with inbound marketing as their contrarian alternative to traditional outbound marketing. They actually have a conference that they do every year, I believe it's usually in Boston in September, called Inbound. All of their content, whether it's their blogs, their courses, their videos, are organized around pillars that support that central theme of inbound marketing. Now I'm going to give you a 30-day roadmap to implement this strategy. Week 1 is all about finding your contrarian angle. Days 1 and 2, you want to do the sacred cow brainstorm that we just talked about. 15 minutes, 10 ideas, don't filter yourself. Day 3, run the validation test. For each idea you have, ask, do I have evidence for this? Would someone disagree? Does this solve a real client problem? Circle the 2 or 3 ideas that get a yes to all 3 of those questions. In days 4 and 5, you'll build your argument. Write out the conventional wisdom, why it's wrong, your alternative, and your proof. Don't worry about the format and making it pretty just yet. Just get your thinking on paper. For days 6 and 7, you want to draft your first post, and I'll give you the structure in a minute. This first week is about getting clarity on your unique perspective. Don't rush it, but don't overthink it either. In weeks 2 through 4 is where you publish and refine. Post your contrarian content on LinkedIn. Choose a day when you can monitor the comments for the first 2 to 3 hours, because early engagement signals to the algorithm that your post is valuable. When people comment, especially when they disagree, respond within the first hour and use this framework. Acknowledge their point, reinforce your position, and then ask a question back to them. As you do this over these few weeks, track what happens. How many comments did you get? How many shares and DMs resulted from this post? What objections came up from people's comments? Did anyone say, I needed to hear this? These are the signals that'll tell you if you've hit a nerve. In week 3, develop your content pillars. Expand your core contrarian idea into 3 to 5 themes that you can explore repeatedly. And then in week 4, build your content calendar. Here's what I recommend. 2 posts per week, 1 contrarian or thought-provoking, and 1 that's educational or helpful. 1 engagement day per week where you spend 30 minutes commenting on others' posts. And 1 monthly deep dive, turning your idea into a longer article. This is a cadence that's sustainable. Instead of burning out trying to post every day or thinking about what you need to say, now you can be strategic with your content. Now I want to give you some realistic expectations, because contrarian content works, but it's not overnight. In your first month, look for engagement quality over quantity. A post with 15 thoughtful comments beats a post with 100 generic or AI-generated great post comments. Look for the right kind of disagreement. People engaging with your ideas. Look for direct messages and profile views. In months 2 to 3, expect recognition. People start associating you with your viewpoint. You get invitations to speak or collaborate, and prospects mention your content when you get in sales calls with them. Here are the metrics that really matter. It's not follower count, it's not the number of likes. You want to focus on inbound inquiries from ideal clients, meeting requests or advice DMs, content attribution in sales calls, and speaking opportunities based on your specific viewpoint. I have detailed resources on how to implement this strategy long-term. I'll link to my articles on content strategy, consistency, and LinkedIn newsletters in the description of this video. Before we wrap up this video, let me give you the exact structure for a contrarian post. It's a template that you can use every single time. First, you start with the hook. You want to state the common belief. For example, everyone says leaders need an open door policy. The turn, state your contrarian opinion directly. Another example, I think that's terrible advice. Here's why. The reasoning, Use 2 to 3 bullet points to explain your logic with a story, data, or experience. Example, it kills your productivity, creates a dependent team, and stops you from thinking strategically. And then the new way. This is where you present your alternative. For example, instead, I teach my clients the structured access method. ... Then the CTA, or call to action. You want to end with a question. For example, what's your take? Is the open door policy overrated? That's the structure that stops the squirrel and starts a conversation. All right, I'm going to bring it all home now. Here's what we covered today. Why most thought leadership content fails. It's generic, safe, and focused on tactics over substance. What a contrarian content strategy is. Challenging common beliefs with your unique, evidence-based perspective. And most importantly, your 30-day action plan to implement this starting today. All right, I'm going to give you your first action step before we go. Do the Sacred Cow brainstorm this week. 10 ideas in 15 minutes. Find a sacred cow that you secretly disagree with in your industry. Now I want you to watch one of these videos that complements this one. I've also got the links in the description. Stop blending in and start standing out. Now go create something bold after you watch one of these videos.